said before, I'll say it again. President Trump, in this atmosphere, cured cancer. Those on the left, in the media mob, everybody, Democrats, they would find a way to want to impeach him for curing cancer. Now, if he gave $1 million to every American, they demanded his impeachment for that. Why didn't he give $5 million? This is a psychotic rage, and this president knows no bounds. It is for every Democrat. You have to suspend all intellectual honesty, all connection to objective truth, reason, and God-given common sense to have this sick, psychotic rage. You got the Democrats furious that Pelosi and Schiff were not notified in advance of the raid. Really? The lack of self-awareness should be pretty shocking because, after all, you have the compromised, corrupt, lying, coward Adam Schiff. He's among the most prolific leaders in Washington in the swamp. No other president has had to deal with their conversations with prime ministers and presidents leaked completely. And by the way, let's put this all in perspective. In 2012, well, Obama, Biden, their campaign slogan was, Osama bin Laden is dead. General Motors is alive. And they repeated that over and over and over again. But back then, the media mob, well, they covered the death of the world's most evil terrorist at a time. Well, they covered it a little differently. Let's take a look.
It is unbelievable what these men did.
Yeah.
And
for our country.
And what the president did as far as not being afraid to engage in what was really a high-risk operation.
The press releases have been quite jubilant. They have been completely bipartisan, congratulating President Obama.
The American people are giving President Obama strong approval ratings for getting Osama bin Laden. But the Bush team is trying to grab the credit.
President Obama showed this week he was as cool in the terrorist hunt as he was as president as he was in the delegate hunt as a candidate back in 2008.
Now, because of the corrupt media mob's psychotic rage, hatred for the president, the world's most evil terrorist is referred to as an austere religious scholar by the Washington Post. And others work overtime to discredit, criticize the president's decision to take out this evil ISIS leader, the world's #1 terrorist. Make no mistake, the president made the right call. Our brave U.S. Special Forces, they took out an evil monster. And tonight, because of all of their heroic actions, the world is a safer place. Joining us now, author of The Rifleman, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. You know, Colonel, as we get details, and the president gave details of all of this and the accounts that we now have, I think people would want to know, walk us through how an incredibly dangerous operation like this likely went down.
Well, there's actually 5 elements, Sean, that are absolutely essential to success in this kind of operation. This isn't hostage recovery. This is a high-value target, a capture-kill mission. So it's a little bit different than hostages, but there's 5 elements. Number 1, you have to have detailed all-source intelligence, kind of like the cold case teams that are put together to follow up for years sometimes on a case. This team has been together since 2014, constantly looking at where he is and how to get him. Number 2, this requires obviously very special personnel and very special equipment. And we've got it like no other country on the planet Earth. And it's kind of like, one of them described it to me as like a well-honed blade in the hands of someone who knows how to use it. That's exactly what you've got in these special operations units. Third, you've got to have a secure operational awareness of where you are and where you've got to go. So you've got to have basically access, either a forward base like Erbil in Iraqi Kurdistan or at sea. In other words, a secure place in which to launch from and recovery to. Number 4, you have to have courage. The guy, I've been with these guys, Sean. I've spent my life with them. These are remarkable young Americans. They volunteered for this assignment. They had to pass an enormously difficult qualification just to get into these kinds of units. And they've got the physical courage, and it takes political courage to make sure that this is going to actually work. In other words, they're asking themselves at the planning level of this, at the Pentagon and in the Situation Room, what are the odds? In other words, is this likely to succeed? And quite frankly, these are missions that could go either way very, very quickly. And so political courage and physical courage are crucial to success. Colonel, and finally, number 5, you've got to have an absolutely, totally secure environment. You cannot have leaks. Surprise is absolutely essential. And the fact that none of this leaked out beforehand is a remarkable testament to the planners and those who called for execution. So those 5 elements are crucial to the kind of success that we saw on Sunday night.
President Trump, it's interesting. He took off the handcuffs, the rules of engagement put on our military, and he defeated the caliphate in Syria. He's the one. He made that. He's going to let the military do their job. He beat them in Syria.
Yes.
Now, if Obama and Biden run on re-election that Osama bin Laden's dead and GM is alive, I guess President Trump can now run on, well, Baghdadi's dead, and we have the lowest unemployment rate, the best economy, employment-wise, since 1969, with record low unemployment for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, women in the workplace, and youth unemployment. Just take a page out of them, except this time it's actually real success.
I'll give the Washington Post a better headline. A Baghdadi died like a rabid dog being chased by a very brave canine. That's exactly what happened in that tunnel. He was being chased by a dog. He died like a rabid dog.
Colonel, thank you.
This coverage is awful. Thank you for showing this book. And by the way, it's available right now for early buy at Amazon.com. Get it by Christmas.
Colonel, you have spent your life with heroes. You've been one yourself. It is a great book.
Brother.
Thank you, sir. Semper Fi. Well, much more throughout the show tonight. First, we have other breaking news in the swamp in Washington. Speaker Pelosi now pressured, thanks to Lindsey Graham, who will join us, saying that a vote to formalize the secret Soviet-style corrupt impeachment coup attempt is going to take place this week. Fox News has confirmed the vote is scheduled for Thursday. To me, this is great news for President Trump and all Republicans. That means all these Democrats in district that Trump won in 2016, they will now be forced to go on the record. Take a look at your screen. Now, those are the lawmakers. Will they choose to take the first step towards nullifying the will of their own voters? Will they choose to authorize an impeachment inquiry based on zero crime, no treason, no bribery, no misdemeanors, no impeachable offenses whatsoever? Now, if you're a Trump supporter in one of these districts, watch closely. The president who has kept every one of his promises. Remember, he said he's going to make trade deals. He made them with Japan, now China, now Mexico, our Western European allies in Canada. Criminal justice reform. Obama, Biden never got that done. Ending more regulations than presidents in the last 100 years. Energy independent for the first time in 75 years. 7 million fewer Americans on food stamps. Biden, Obama added 13 million and 7 million new jobs, and that's a little over 2.5 years. He found the funding for the wall on the southern border when Congress wouldn't help him. He destroyed that caliphate in Syria. Now he's taken out Baghdadi. And yet, by the way, that president is facing another witch hunt based on nothing. The president has a sworn duty to uphold the laws of this land. That is his constitutional oath. That includes what is the blatant 2016 foreign election interference that we know took place with Ukraine, helping Hillary in 2016. Don't take my word for it. There's the Politico, January 11th, 2017, before Trump was even sworn in. Ukrainian officials were actively colluding with a DNC staffer meeting in the Ukrainian embassy in D.C., all while trying to smear President Trump and bolster the Clinton campaign. Clinton campaign, they're not above the law. By the way, neither are the Bidens. This is not a conspiracy theory. Joe Biden on camera